What's going on, Knicks fans? Welcome to another edition of the KFS pregame show. My name is Andrew. His name is Sean. His name is XJ. And we are here to preview the Knicks' upcoming matchup against the Toronto Raptors. The Knicks come into tonight's matchup. In case you haven't heard, they are sixth place in the Eastern Conference. They are 18-13 on the season and winners of 8 consecutive games. They go for 9 tonight at the Garden. A quick injury note that we're going to monitor for tonight. Obviously, Obi Toppin is out, as he has been for the last several games. And Quentin Grimes is a TBD at the moment. He sprained his ankle last night against the Golden State Warriors. Shout out to Ty Jerome for being the worst. He is going to suit up, Quentin Grimes, and he's going to test his ankle. If he is okay, we will see him tonight, and if not, Tibbs has already hinted at an 8-man rotation. That madman. Okay, gentlemen. First of all, Sean, I owe you a thank you. Thank you for covering me last week when I was out sick. Did a tremendous job. XJ, haven't seen you in a while. The tone of this entire pregame and the conversation around this franchise has changed a bit. I'm gonna go to XJ first. I know the data-minded person that you are, you have to have some stats from the 8-game winning streak that sticks out to you. So the floor is yours, sir. What are your favorite numbers and stats and nuggets from the 8-game winning streak?
So I do happen to have some stats. I got to say, this is the most excited I've been for a Knicks game against the Raptors since Jeremy Lin went to Scotiabank Arena.
Valentine's Day? Okay.
You know what time it is. I appreciate the swing over to me. I have a few stats that I want to share about my top 8 favorite stats of the streak.
Ooh,
maybe I call them the Spreewell Awards or something like that. I'm not sure.
I dig it.
So first one, I'm gonna go quick. These are really good. First one, Knicks are only giving up 33.4 3-point attempts per game during the streak. This is a dramatic decrease from the first 20 or so games from when they were almost over like 40. I am concerned that opponents are shooting only 28.5% on threes, which is, not really sustainable, but I'm happy with the aggressive changes to the scheme and the better defensive personnel. So I think we can maintain some of that and just limiting 3-point attempts. A lot of the switching is helping a lot. So I love that. Number 2, Quentin Grimes has a 66.9% effective field goal percentage during the streak, which is the highest among all guards in the league who take at least 8 field goal attempts during the 8 games.
It's nuts.
That's among all guards in the NBA. Quentin Grimes. Hopefully he plays tonight. We'll talk about it a little bit later, what difference that impact would be. But super excited with how QG is playing. Number 3, Hartenstein and Mitch have offensive rebound percentages of 19% and 18.5% respectively over the course of the 8 games, which is by far the number 1 and number 2 in the NBA during that time among players who play over 15 minutes per game. Number 4, speaking of rebounding, the Knicks have had a 56.9% rebound percentage during the streak, which is number 1 in the NBA during that time. I think we've all seen them killing the boards constantly. Okay, a few more. RJ Barrett has taken 59 field goal attempts in the restricted area over the last 8 games, which is number 6 in the league. Let me tell you who the guys are ahead of him. Zion, Giannis, Jokic, Aaron Gordon. It's kind of random, but Aaron Gordon's having a great year. Okay. And Domantas Sabonis. So that's
all restricted area kings. Yeah,
all restricted area kings. That's more restricted area shots by RJ than Embiid, LeBron, SGA, Ja Morant. And he's shooting a respectable 58% on those attempts. So it's not just like he's getting there and just throwing it off the rim like as he has done sometimes in the past. He's been pretty efficient with those shots. So that's awesome. Number 6, 3 Knicks players are holding opponents under 40% shooting from the field when they're guarding them. That's Sims at a ridiculous 33%. That's unreal. Deuce, 37%. And yes, the Rowan Renaissance, RJ Barrett holding opponents to 38% shooting on a ton of attempts against him, actually. I think it's like almost like teams are attacking him, but he's holding his own. 38% shooting against RJ Barrett during the streak. The bounce back is real. I think it's legit. And
shout out regression. Yes.
Shout out regression. Absolutely. Something we've talked about many times here. And also shout out to the fact that I think RJ's not getting enough credit for his role in this whole 8-game streak. I know we talk a lot about Deuce. We talk about Hartenstein. We talk about Sims, we talk about Randall on the offense, we talk about Brunson. RJ has been holding his own and is a big reason why they've won 8 games in a row. Okay, 2 more. Number 7. The 7 is that the Knicks, this one's pretty straightforward. The Knicks plus 3.2 adjusted net rating is 7th in the league overall, and that's not just over the 8-game stretch. That's overall in the league based on these 8 games.
Explain adjusted net rating for those that might not know what it is, potentially
Absolutely.
me. Yes.
So adjusted net rating, there's a few different ones. The one that I look at is from dunks and threes, and that just accounts for strength of schedule. So basically, it looks at the strength of opposing defenses and opposing offenses, and then balances it out that way. So it's a little more accurate than just looking at overall net rating. Doesn't make that much of a difference over the course of an entire 82 games, but over a small sample size, you want to look at adjusted net rating over just regular offensive and defensive rating and net rating. And finally, number 8 is that 8 Knicks players have a raw plus minus of +8 or more over the last 8 games. And I don't need to say who they are because you already know. And those are the 8 guys that are going to play tonight if QG is not out there. So yeah, super exciting. Those are my 8 stats from the 8-game streak. Happy to be back to talk about this, and I love the positive tone around the franchise right now. So
I love the positive tone as well, and that was outstanding. And they're all pointing into the impact that, like you said, RJ has had, Jericho Sims in the backup role to Julius, but more importantly, filling in for Obi during this time, and other contributors. But Quentin Grimes has played a big role, and unfortunately, I have to kill some of the positive vibes. He is out tonight against the Raptors, which should put something on the framing for how we talk about this game against the Raptors. Sean, haven't heard from you yet. Positive vibes only, or do you have anything to push back on?
No, I mean, I love the stats XJ just read off, particularly with RJ, and I think it's been said during the pregame that it's during some of the postgame shows it's not a coincidence that Quentin Grimes guarding the other team's best wing,
right?
Has and RJ improving offensively is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence at all. I mean, the only thing I'll push back on, I want to push back on it. Like, I want to win this game tonight. I want to win this game. Of course, since I've been talking cash shit about the Raptors for the last month, they would come in there and end our streak, and then my mentions will be on fire.
What do you mean you've been talking cash shit?
Well, so the positive vibes only, right? Okay, let me be positive.
You know what? I'll lift the moratorium. What you got?
So I've been saying on the Twitter that there's 3 types of teams in this league. You're chasing ping pong balls, you're chasing championships, or you're mid. And a lot of these teams, the Raptor fans have a way of talking about their team like they're like almost like Warriors East, in that they're like light years ahead of people, and like, oh, we have Messiah's this and Vision 6'9", and we got all these guys, everything's going great. And then me being a member, pulling up to the Hoop Space Daily Show more often than not, and I hear this all the time. And then one day I said to myself, y'all not winning shit this year, so come have a seat next to us. And like, you guys are mid. And then, when what's this guy's name? Kirk Goldsberry put out his net rating chart, and you remember the one where the Knicks were right in the middle, and I had a Raptors fan come out and say like, oh, the Knicks are mid where they're supposed to be. And I'm like, you're mid too. Your mid just looks better than ours. And it's true. Like you're not winning the title. Like, yeah, you might be like, things are going great. Like, yeah, you're going to be the 6th seed and you're going to lose in the first round. So of course, since I've said this, now the Raptors have lost, I think they've lost like 7 of 10 or something.
6 in a row, too. Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I've been talking cash shit, it would be the karma gods will shine down on me and say, you know what, Sean? Your cute little 8-game win streak it's going to end at the hands of this team. And I felt like it could have already, but we'll get to that when we preview the Raptors.
Well, it's funny because researching them a little bit tonight, the indication should be the Knicks should win this game. I was hesitant going into the Warriors game talking about it with Mensa last night, but I think some of that is just built up Knicks fan PTSD that like all good things will come to an end. Not must, they will come to an end. And who else but an undermanned Golden State Warriors to do it? And the Knicks won by almost 40 points last night. Like the shorthanded Knicks with Quentin Grimes playing on 1 foot won by almost 40 points against the Warriors last night. I understand no Steph. I understand no Wiggins. That didn't change the fact that I thought this would be like a 12, 15-point win at best. They won by almost 40 points. And then you go into the Raptors game, and I'll pull up their stats in a second. They have a lot of struggles. And I guess what I'll ask you guys is, am I allowed, does the loss of Quentin Grimes tonight change your confidence the way it has suddenly changed mine tonight? Sean, we'll go to you first. I was thinking, like, you know what? If Grimes plays tonight and he's like at 70%, there's no version of this version of the Raptors, the way they're playing lately, that beats the way the Knicks have been playing lately. No Grimes changes things, especially since it's going to be an 8-man rotation. Sean, what do you think?
So I don't like the fact that Grimes is out. We're misses the space he provides, his 3-point shooting, and obviously his defense. Although I'm looking at some of these Raptors box scores, I'm thinking to myself, like, who would we like? I mean, who would we need to take out? Which wing will we need them to take out, to Grimes to take out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like OG Anunoby. I mean, I like OG Anunoby, but he doesn't, whatever. So what the reason what I just don't like the fact that we're like, I think John said on the post game last night, he's the kind of the glue that holds things together. And now that now it looks like we're gonna go to an 8-man rotation. More will be expected of the rest of the squad. Like we just spoke about how RJ not having to guard the best wing has made him has had an impact on his productivity. Now he might have to. So I'm a little scared. But what bothers me, what I was scared of, what I was more afraid of, and which has nothing to do with Grimes, is that teams of length will give our point guard fits, and this team, this super switchable long arm team, may give us some trouble tonight.
XJ, what do you think?
I think that my real concern about missing Grimes is actually on the offensive end. I think Grimes, like the kind of stats that I read off, just talking about his effective field goal percentage in the last 8 games, his offense has been incredible.
Yeah.
And so I'm more so worried, even more than the defensive end. Like Sean said, it's kind of like the Raptors kind of don't have a guy that we can just be like sick Grimes on them defensively, and it's not going to have a huge impact in that way. But I think offensively, it's going to be a big loss. And the Raptors are really just like the most mid team, like Sean said. So kind of like where the Knicks were the team in the middle of that diagram a few games ago. Now that's where the Raptors actually are. They're literally the most middling team in the NBA. I think that they have like a 0 net rating, adjusted net rating, which makes them just completely neutral mid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're 14th in the league in offense and 16th in the league in defense. They're just the most middling team in the NBA. But teams like that, as we know, watching the Knicks, who were that team, they can beat anybody on any given night. That can happen. And the games that the Raptors have been losing, tough games. I'm looking at, the Kings game, they lost by a point. They lost by 3 against the Nets. They lost in overtime against the 76ers. It's not like they're getting like really blown out. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned on the offensive end, not having Grimes. And I think the only way the Knicks pull this one out is with a huge IQ game. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if he's going to really play 35 minutes and we're going to have this 8-man rotation, because that would be my preference. I would play IQ just more minutes instead of having any Rose minutes or Fournier, anybody like that. So, I think it's a big loss, and I think the biggest impact is going to be felt on the offensive side of the ball.
This would legit be a perfect Cam game, but I know it's not going to happen. This would be the game for Cam to come back. I'm not even welcoming that rhetoric to the pod. I'm just saying, like, next man up would say, oh, okay, Cam, you're starting, but that's neither here nor there at this point. You guys have been hinting at it about the Raptors. What they are coming into this game is 13-18, 10th in the East. They are 3-12 on the road this season, and they're 0-5 in their last 5. They've lost their last 6 games. You can see Pascal Siakam's numbers on the bottom. He's playing at an all-star level. But the things that they do poorly are the offensive side of the ball, which is why, XJ, to your point, the defensive side of the ball shouldn't have too much of a drop off with Grimes out, especially if Quickly is going to play in those fill-in minutes, especially if Deuce is going to play in those fill-in minutes. It's the offensive side of the ball, and whether the Knicks can, what they've gotten from Grimes on the offensive side of the ball, if they can make up for it. But look, we've been talking about how bad the Knicks are from three-point land this season. Overall, the Raptors are worse. We've been talking about how the Knicks' effective field goal percentage and true shooting and all these other long-range metrics have hurt them this year. The Raptors are worse. Across the board, the Raptors are worse. And it's why going into tonight, I am fascinated to see what adjustments Tibbs makes with this 8-man rotation. Do you have any thoughts on what you would do in this? XJ, what are you thinking as far as how you would approach this with just an 8-man rotation?
Well, I mean, like I said, IQ would play a ton more minutes, upwards of 40 if necessary. Like I would just really have him backfill a lot of the Grimes minutes, and I would ride with the 8-man rotation. My one concern about that is that this is a back-to-back, and that is a huge reason why, looking at the spread, even on WynnBet, as we'll talk about later, the Knicks are only favored by 2 points.
By 2 points,
and this is the Raptors.
I'm not surprised they're favored. That line is getting closer, I should say.
The line's getting closer. Now Grimes is out. This is a back-to-back. The Raptors are kind of due for a win. It's a tough matchup historically anyway for the Knicks with all the long, rangy defenders. So, like I said, I play IQ a ton more minutes. I wouldn't try to interject Cam right now. Like, honestly, I would just ride with the guys that have been playing really well. Deuce would play more minutes for me as well, but it's going to be tough because all the Raptors guys are pretty big besides Van Vliet. So, I don't think there's a really clear answer. And to be honest, like this is the game I'm the most fearful of all of them in the streak so far, that I think that we have a best chance of losing.
Yeah, should mention Gary Trent Jr. is also out for the Raptors, whatever that does to anyone's confidence levels. Sean, any final thoughts before we get into betting and sweating for today?
I had a thought and I just had a thought and I just lost. Oh, the other thing that concerns me is that the matchup that we haven't spoken about is Tom Thibodeau versus Nick Nurse. And Nick Nurse is a top 5 coach in this league. And we talk about adjustments. No one makes adjustments more than Nick Nurse.
No one.
So listen, I'm looking at the chat right now. It's like, listen, and everyone in the chat is right. Like the Raptors come to play. They're going to play hard. Like you said, GMAC, they lose these. I have their schedule right here. Like they lost to Philly by 3. They lost to Sacramento by 1. Brooklyn by 3.
Said it, but yes, go ahead.
It's actually sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
But so like this game, even if I didn't say a word about the Raptors, this game, especially in a back-to-back. Now, granted, most of the starters didn't play the fourth quarter yesterday, which was good. But this game, it ain't. This is gonna be a dogfight. And if we gotta come to play. We absolutely have to come to play.
Which, look, I do also agree that Nick Nurse is a better coach than Tibbs, a more adjusting coach than Tibbs. One thing that I've come to expect from at least this winning streak is a level of preparation and readiness to play from a Tom Thibodeau coach team. Now that he's finally got quote unquote Tibbs guys in there, that's the other reason why I don't think you're going to see like the Cam pivot is just not even part of the equation, because he knows he has 8 to 9 guys that he could pivot to, and that's who he trusts to come prepared and ready to play. And so we'll see how it works out. Before we get to betting and sweating, Robert Cross in the super chat. Happy holidays for the pregame live stream crew. Let's get this W and on to the next 4-0. Merry Christmas. Hashtag 53 wins. I will add a comment he added. Adjust to this RJ Barrett 30 piece.
From your lips to God's ears. I
Love-
mean, listen, this is hometown team. Maybe he's got some extra motivation tonight.
Exactly it. As always, the fine folks over at WynnBet are bringing us our betting and sweating segment. Download the WynnBet app now and visit www.wynnbet.com to start winning. Sign up today to receive a special offer. You bet 100, you win 100 at wynnbet.com. Download, bet, win. Betting and sweating for today. Knicks are currently -2. Whoa, that was not the button I meant to push. I accidentally did it on this screen. Now I do it here, full screen. The Knicks are currently -2 against the Raptors going into tonight. They are -130 on the money line. 218 for the game is the over/under total. Some player props. Mr. Robinson had 9 points exactly. That's kind of been his MO is 9 points. I would stay. The under might actually be the play if you're going to do a Mr. Robinson prop tonight. Going through the rest of them, RJ Barrett. If you're digging that 30 piece, Robert Cross, it's 21 is the over for RJ Barrett. Some other ones, Jalen Brunson's number for tonight is 21.5. Julius Randle's is 23.5. Pascal Siakam, who I mentioned is averaging about 25 a game, is at 24.5. And no Quentin Grimes, which might not make his night as difficult as it might have been going in. Then Scotty Barnes. This is what gets to the rebounds. RJ's at 5.5. Scotty Barnes, Siakam, Randall's at 8.5 after a 13 rebound night. Okay, gentlemen, it's time to bet and sweat. Where are we leaning, Sean?
So all right.
Uh-oh.
And I may actually bet this. I may actually make this bet alongside. I was looking at, because the one thing about Vision 6'9", where you have a bunch of 6'9" guys, that you ain't got no 7-footers. So I was looking at one Mitchell Robinson, and of course, because Vegas knows what's up, they have his rebound props at 10.5. So I actually may bet that on the side, but in the words of Dan Le Batard, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me again. Knicks first quarter. I'm gonna give the half a point because I want the juice. I'll give the half a point because the Toronto Raptors have a first quarter net rating of -8.6, and the Knicks have a first quarter net rating of 6.3. The Knicks should win the first quarter. That's the bet for me. Let's go.
So you're going money line. You're saying you're going money line.
No, I'm gonna go. No, I'm gonna go.
You're going half a point.
Spread,
okay.
Because I don't want to pay the extra juice on the 120.
Gotcha.
The Knicks have hit first quarter money line. I think the only time they've missed it during the win streak was the second Chicago game, and I didn't bet it that day. But we're gonna keep riding this until it goes off the rails.
Okay, I like it. That was a well-researched stat. Well done, Sean. Okay, XJ, where are you going?
I love when Sean comes with the net rating by quarter stats. Those are my favorites.
You can tell he's gambling again.
He's gambling again. Yeah, I honestly I really wish there was a quickly lineup. I know that WynnBet was waiting to see what the lineup would look like. I would take quickly over whatever.
Speaking of quickly, hold on. Emmanuel Quickly is getting his first start of the season tonight. Not that this should surprise anybody. I'll admit with Tibbs, I needed to see it before I actually counted on Emmanuel Quickly starting tonight. So Emmanuel Quickly will start at the 2-guard spot tonight.
Love it. I love it. See, like that's what I'm saying. I would have taken Quickly over anything that they had for him. 18, I would have taken him over. But there's no Quickly lines up yet. I guess they're, like I said, they're probably just waiting.
Maybe they got some Quickly lines up. They do not on here.
Okay. No
combos. And nothing on combos.
Nothing on combos.
Right,
okay.
Nothing yet.
Well, in that case, I'm looking at 2 lines. One is the points under overall for the game. The points I think is 218. I think it's going to be a dogfight, low scoring. Grimes is out. Like I said, it's going to affect the offense. It's going to be like a really defensive struggle. I think this game is going to be. So I'm looking at that points under. I'm also looking at the first half, -1 for the Knicks. That's the give it to me again.
Y'all's go to, yeah.
But I think I'm really worried about this game. And if the Knicks win this game, if the Knicks pull this one out, I will be the most impressed I've been all season. Obviously, they just continue to impress us constantly with the win streak and everything, but this is a tough one. So I'm kind of afraid of the points line. So I think I'm going to go the points for the game under 218 is what I'm going to do.
It's a safe bet.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there, just a low scoring affair. I dig it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's get Mensa's. He's got Mitchell Robinson. I got to find it. Points and rebounds. There it is. And he's going 20. So minus 149. Mitchell Robinson points and rebounds. So it's got to get at least 20. And then where I'm going with this is a great, great day to be wrong, is what I'm going to say. Because I think this is a night where we're Siakam. There you go. Points, rebounds, and assists for Pascal Siakam. I think he gets at least 40. I think if the Knicks win, it'll be because they were able to overcome a monster night from Pascal Siakam. So, to recap, Sean, you have the Knicks first quarter spread of minus 0.5, I should say. So a half a point at minus 110. XJ, you're going for the game under 218 at minus 110. Mitchell Robinson points and rebounds at 20 plus is what Mensa's going with. And I'm going 40 plus points, rebounds, and assists from Pascal Siakam. The parlay for our betting and sweating picks is 11-17. If you're feeling us, then go ahead. We were on a pretty nice hot streak until Quentin Grimes and the Warriors decided to mess all of that up over the last few games. Hopefully we're back on our winning ways with this. Shout out to the fine folks over at WynnBet. Go ahead, Sean, what you got?
I just want to give a quick shout out to Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr benching Jordan Poole for the entire fourth quarter when Jordan Poole had 26 points and I had the under 26.5. Shout out to Steve Kerr, and shout out to the Knicks for actually keeping the lead high enough so that that Steve didn't go like, because I said to myself, I was like, you know what? They're on a back-to-back because they're playing Brooklyn. Golden State's playing Brooklyn tonight. I was like, Kerr will wave the white flag if they keep the lead where it is. So shout out to Steve Kerr.
Can we talk about how confused our coach looked in the fourth quarter? He wanted so bad to put Brunson, to put Randall, to put RJ back in, and was like, Steve, you gonna do it? What are you doing? You're resting your players? What's wrong? Well, you're resting your players? What are you doing? Come on! I gotta put ice on their knees later. He was so confused as to this concept of putting up a white flag and not playing your starters back in a 30-point game. He went and sat down. I couldn't believe it. No one could. He sat down in the fourth quarter.
But you know what's funny? So I'm there. I was at the game yesterday with Cedric Shine. And
by the way, we all said a congratulations, right?
Yes. Shout out to Ced. Ced is a new head of marketing at MLS. Shout out to him.
It's huge. Congratulations, Ced.
It's huge. So shout out to him. We love Ced. That's my man, 50 grand. Ced was like, I was like, Ced, this game, because to your point, I was like, this team is 3-15 on the road. We should win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're literally up 27 points.
We were. We were.
And Ced is like, I was like, Ced, this game is over. He's like, nah, I don't know. I was here for the Brooklyn game. I was like, Cedric, look who's on. You think we're gonna lose to Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb? This game is over.
Different
and
team.
The lead just kept getting bigger. And I'm like, Ced, we're up 30 with 8 minutes left. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, Ced, they're putting Patrick Baldwin Jr. This game is over. He's like, I don't know. And at 5 minutes to go, we're up 35. He's like, all right, well, that's so. I don't know if that's Nick's PTSD or Tim's PTSD, because Cedric was like, I don't know. I'm like, Cedric, they stink.
Hey, that's never going away, Sean. I had that too. I had that too. I'm gonna wait for up 35 with 5 minutes to go before I feel good about it. I really am. I don't think it's ever going away from me. So
I'll add on to it because I didn't necessarily have it. I was carefully eyeing the score, but it was always at a comfortable place where I never panicked. The way Macri was talking about this game last night on playback, you would have thought this was a 1-point game going into halftime, not a 15-point game. He was like, you know what? I'll accept an 18-point lead, but not a 15-point lead. He was like, really? That's what we're doing now? We're not okay with 15-point leads against the Golden State Warriors? And as the lead kept going on, and he's like, oh, you can't allow that. It's like, John, they're up by 37 points. And just the lead kept getting bigger and bigger. It was the most stressful because of the situation we've had the last couple of years. the most stressful 38-point victory because of what we do to ourselves that I think has ever existed.
Like as I'm watching the game, I realized, and I actually jumped on because my Twitter friend Gifted X-Blade, shout out to him, had a little. He's a Warriors fan, a little halftime space, and I was telling him, he was saying like, there's clearly listen, this Jordan Poole running around the Steph Curry double screens is cool. He's off. I was like, there's clear, like by the halfway through the third quarter, it's like there's clearly an offensive ceiling on this team that does not match ours. Like I was like, okay, unless Jordan Poole scores 60, we're not going to lose this game. And and the gap just got wider and wider and wider because again, they're depending on Ty Jerome, Anthony Lamb, James Wiseman. Like, I was like, yeah.
No, that Warriors team is horrible, right?
Yeah.
Just say what it is. They're awful. But
we looked at for the pregame show. We basically went to the 800 non-Steph minutes to preview them. It's like, the worst offensive rating in the NBA. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just the truth, but like it doesn't matter. Like for me and my lifetime as a Knicks fan, like I will never feel safe against. You could bring a G League team in and we could be up by 50 at half, and I'm gonna be like, well, wait till the fourth quarter and then I'll feel confident. It's just how it is. But yeah, realistically, we never stood a chance of losing that game at any point. So.
Halftime,
by the way,
I agree.
go ahead, Sean.
Sorry, real quick. Halftime, I agree. Like, no lead is safe at halftime. I agree with you. But I actually have the play-by-play, and I remember this. At 9:55 left in the fourth, Deuce hit a three to make a 111-81. And Cedric was still like, I don't know. And I'm like, Cedric, this game is fucking over. It's like, and people were leaving. He's like, why are they leaving? I'm like, because we're up 30.
Listen. That of the teams I root for, the Knicks, nothing triggers my PTSD, my sports PTSD, like the New York Knicks. So we have a last minute change, by the way. Mensa has taken Mitchell Robinson off the board, and he is instead going with Jalen Brunson assists at 5.5. He's taking the over. So the parlay now changes to plus 1249. It's at minus 125. Jalen Brunson assists. Those are our betting and sweating picks for today's game, presented by the fine folks over at WynnBet. Download the WynnBet app now or visit www.wynnbet.com to start winning. Sign up today to receive a special offer. You bet $100, you win $100. That's bet 100, win 100 at wynnbet.com. Download, bet, win. Any final thoughts before the Knicks take on the Toronto Raptors, gentlemen?
I actually find it I just want to win this. I want this one.
This is personal.
I want this one.
Yeah.
I've actually been saying to myself, because I'm a masochist. I'm like, okay, who do you want the win streak to end against? And I'm like, do I want to end against the Raptors? I was like, well, I don't want it to end on Christmas because it would be like, oh, the Knicks won 10 straight on national TV on Christmas. And then here come the Sixers like, see, total, whatever, right?
Yeah, I can't lose to Philly. That's me personally. I can't lose to Philly.
So it's like, okay, do I want to lose to them? And then it's like, well, okay, well, maybe if we lose the win streak before that, there's less pressure on them going on Christmas Day. But then it will be like, oh, we lose to the Bulls? Like, we just bitch slapped the Bulls last week. Can I say that? Because I don't know if I can say that. So I'm just like, where
already said it's okay.
Yeah, well, for the future, GMAC. So but then it's like, okay, it's like I don't want to lose to Toronto because it's Toronto. I don't want to lose to Chicago because we just beat them twice. I don't want to lose to Philly on national TV on Christmas Day. Then it's at Dallas. I don't want to lose to Dallas. You don't want to lose to San Antonio. You don't want to lose to Houston. Now I see why people are like, we're not going to lose a game for the rest of 2022 because then we have Phoenix at home. But it's like, okay, if you lose to Phoenix at home, it's like, all right, it's no big deal. So that will be fine.
Listen, they don't lose again until the end of 2022, until that Phoenix game. The city might not be standing on New Year's Eve. Okay, that's what I have to say. People really. Oh, that's right. So the people who think that. Please fast track the connect over to CP. I did see that clip of the guy from Belize that thinks the Knicks aren't going to lose again the rest of 2022. XJ, any final thoughts?
I love that question by Sean. Like, what game are you okay with the streak ending at? And if I look at the schedule, like tonight's the one I really want because tonight would mean so much, just based on the situation, the back-to-back, Grimes being out, everything we talked about. That would be so impressive if we won this game. So this is the one I really want. I agree. I don't want to lose to Philly. I don't want to lose to Dallas again, who is the last team that we lost to in the horrible fashion. I really would like them to get redemption in that game. And then, I don't think they're going to lose to the Spurs or the Rockets anyway. So I'm fine with losing to the Bulls on Friday. They take this game and they lose to the Bulls and it's just like, hey, we beat them 2 in a row last time. They just didn't get up for it. That's cool to me. So that's how I'm looking at it.
On behalf of my mentions, I would not like to lose to the Bulls. I talked a lot of shit after those 2 games. So I personally don't want to invite the attention of the winning streak ending because of me. So that's where I stand on this. I'm okay losing to Phoenix. I'm okay losing next year. If you're asking my preferences,
you can't spell. Well, Bulls is not spelled with back-to-back-to-back L's.
That's
it's just
right.
back-to-back
It's only
L's.
2 L's. It's just being grammatically.
That was an amazing tweet. That was an amazing tweet.
You want to know what's funny? You want to know when I was on all the Paxlovid and NyQuil last week because for those who missed it, I had COVID and was just bedridden. When I could, I was sleeping, and when I wasn't sleeping, I was laying down. I had woken up in the third quarter. Like, I did not watch that game. I woke up in the third quarter and was like, "Oh, the Knicks are up by 100. Great!" And then I got that tweet ready and just fired it off. That was all the medication, all the modern medicine speaking in that moment.
It sparked the creativity. COVID and drugs sparks all kinds of
creativity. Not that I am recommending anything. Not saying that whatsoever.
Can I say COVID and drugs sparks creativity?
That is not the views expressed by you.
Can I say that?
Can we say bitch slap? Apparently now we can't say bitch slap on here. Listen, we had a nice day of taking care of the Bay Area, whether you're a basketball fan or a baseball fan. We had a couple of victories over the Bay Area. Life is good right now, fellas. Life is good. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for the KFS pregame show. We do this an hour before every game. Man.
Where's mine?
This fits me.
It fits.
I can make this work.
It works. I like it. Shout out to XJ wearing the official KFS hat. Shout out to Sean who wore it to the Garden yesterday. Love it. So is that your RJ? There you go. It's cute. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to XJ. If you want to do us a favor, follow them on Twitter. Their handles are in the name tag underneath their face. You can follow me as well. But if you really want to do me a favor, head on over to the YouTube channel and give this video a like and a subscribe to the channel. Tune in after the game where John is recapping, hopefully the Knicks' 9th consecutive victory. But either way, we'll be here after the game on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. And that'll do it for us. Thank you for tuning in. Knicks Nation, let's ride.